First come the dreamers.
Dreamers. Yeah, no, that makes even
First come
more
the
sense
dreamers,
because you got to get
right?
guys with big ideas and that makes
Yep.
sense.
Then come the bankers, and then come the
Right? You got to have
salespeople.
money. Yep.
You got somebody to get into the masses, right? You got to get to the market. Then come the sharps. So you start seeing a lot of
Mm,
the gurus, right? And then come
yep.
the thieves.
One of the things that I really want to explore with this podcast is the tension between that spark of purpose that we start out with and the corruption that comes, right? The series of compromises, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He started with this beautifully good intention, but through a series of compromises, he ended up creating the worst version of himself. Today's guest, Christopher Trocola, not only lived that tension, but he built a framework to explain it. His journey took him from door-to-door sales to the forefront of the solar boom, where he witnessed firsthand how an industry's dreams can be corrupted by fraud. He saw that Blue Nile flood of innovation bring with it a wave of thieves. And in this conversation, he's going to share a powerful model, the 5 phases of industry, that will help to diagnose, those fields, those industries. Where's your field in its own life cycle? More importantly, I think his story is a case study of what it means to be an intentional technologist, someone who sees a problem and decides to build the solution. Well, thanks for joining me again. I'm excited to have this chance to talk with you and just hear a little bit more about your story. I'd love to just dive right into some questions. What first motivated you to get into business and technology? Where did you get your start?
I got my start knocking doors selling Kirby vacuum cleaners about 20 years ago, actually. I don't know. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've loved it. I've loved every minute of it. Uh, I've had a very interesting road to get into tech. I spent 15 years of my career selling things door to door, building companies. Started in Kirby, and that was in Gulfport, Mississippi. I had no reason to be there whatsoever. Followed a girl out there, that whole story. I answered an ad that said $3,000 signing bonus because I couldn't find a job. So I had to borrow a shirt from her stepdad because I didn't have any button ups. I had to borrow their car to drive 45 minutes to the office. And then the owner on the day of training, I get the job. The owner on the day of training says, "Hey, get in my van. You're in my van." I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing on this job yet. And they showed me how to put this thing together in the back. I'd never seen a Kirby before, and that launched in my passion for business. He taught me so much. Took me under his wing. I ended up owning multiple franchises over the years. I went into alarms and solar. Did a lot of consulting for those industries as well. Built my first solar business in 2016, and then I exited that to move into compliance and during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. And I think we all remember that. Everything moved virtual, right? Zoom's happening. Now these door-to-door guys who have no training whatsoever are off selling $50,000-$60,000 solar systems to people in California when they live in Florida, and they don't know the rules, and they don't know that the NEM 2.0 started, and there's just weird compliance stuff over there, and solar's not going to be good without certain aspects, and customers are getting just destroyed financially. So I ended up building a technology. I had to teach myself how to do it, and it was an online licensure system that was equivalent to the real estate and financial industries. And then I built one of the world's first AI agents that was able to handle onboarding and offboarding of salespeople and customers. That's when I started learning more about AI. And then that's what brought me in after getting sick during this last year of recovering from cancer. I really just kind of just honed in on my development and my tech and realized that there's something more to this, and it's needed much more in this industry than it was ever needed in solar.
That's quite a story, man. So multiple businesses, right? You've had multiple business launches. You just beat cancer? Tell me more
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So I had a cancer called neuroendocrine stomach cancer. Okay. Neuroendocrine cancer is one of the rarest cancers out there. I had 11 tumors that were removed in October last year, but there was continuing issues with it. So I've been a bodybuilder and a power lifter my entire life. I started at 14 years old because I had something called gynecomastia when I was a child. And it was from medications they gave me from when I almost died when I was 12. So this is my first round of being extremely sick and dealing with doctors and all these other things.
Crazy. That's crazy, man.
So it was this absolute insane situation. We did a fasting and prayer with the church last year. We started in January, and I don't know if this is a record or not, but I was on 18 months of fasting and praying. My stomach basically kind of shut down, and it made everything like really, really bad. And I didn't eat, and I went from 240 pounds at 14% body fat during my bulk to when the cancer got as worse. I finally went to the doctors in August. I got diagnosed on my birthday of last year, on August 8th of last year, turning 37. They told me, you have stomach cancer. And on October 25th, they told me that we don't know what's up with your type of stomach cancer. It shouldn't be acting this way. And this may be a continual thing for you. So a lot of family, a lot of prayer. My wife has been my rock during this whole thing. Did some alternative treatments. And the day, actually, I almost died multiple times already, but the worst one, I lost 7 pounds in about 4 hours. And that's after they sent me home because they said, we can't help you anymore. They sent me home basically to die. My family came over, they prayed over me. And the next morning I woke up and went to the doctor, and they took my blood and they said, you're fine now. There's nothing, we can't find any cancer in you anymore. Okay.
That's insane. That's a
They said, we
miracle,
can't
man.
explain
That's
it. Oh
wild.
yeah. They said, we can't explain it. I said, I can. God did it. It's true. God's going to grant miracles to you that it's going to come to a point to where you can only say he did it. That's it. I'm
Yeah,
living
you
testimony
have
of that.
no other explanation, no medicine, no science. It was just a supernatural intervention. Would you say that's your greatest personal success story then?
Definitely one of them. Yeah. It was a rough year. Going from, being able to literally lift cars and ripping trunks apart. My wife had totaled out one of our Teslas, and I get there. It was a pretty bad accident, and thank God they were all fine. But the firefighters had cut the cord that allows us to open the door, and they'd gotten Whataburger. They were actually coming home from Whataburger, and they're like, "We really want our food still." I'm like, "Okay." So I went to the car to go get it, and all the doors wouldn't open. And one of the firefighters was like, "Hey, we can use the jaws of life." I'm like, "Don't worry about it." And I just grabbed the door and I ripped it open.
Dude,
So to go from that
what a
to
beast.
in like June of this year to like I can't open a jar of pickles anymore is a big transition. It's a big, and now I'm back in the gym. I'm feeling healthy. I'm having aches and pains. I'm older, so it's not as easy as it used to be, but definitely one of my biggest success stories.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And now you're moving from solar, you're moving into, right? You're launching Arc Defense to help fight AI fraud. So tell me about that. What's up with that?
AI fraud is insane. Did you know that 50% of all fraud now involves AI? It's 50%.
That's insane, man. 50% of all fraud involves AI. No way.
Yes. 50% of all fraud involves AI. AI-driven fraud has already cost $12.3 billion since 2023. When did OpenAI really make their market launch? Do you know? 2023.
2020, right? Yeah.
2023. So since they launched and GPTs have been available to the public, there's been $12.3 billion in annual losses. And that's only getting
That's
higher. We're looking at
nuts.
about 40 billion in annual losses by 2027.
It's insane. I mean, it's
So
absolutely crazy.
yeah. You've seen a lot of different types. What kind of fraud have you seen out there in
Well,
the
my mom got older, as she got older. And after my dad passed away, she was in a place where she was emotionally vulnerable. So she's really, vulnerable to those kind of social scams where they call you up and they're like, this one guy, right? He's, Indian, right? From somewhere in Asia. He's like, hi, my name is Tom. That was my dad's name, right? Oh, and he's, I work for Microsoft and you have a virus on your computer. I need to fix. And so she ended up sending money and, gave up her credit cards, and it was a mess. And that was several years ago before AI even stepped in. I mean, just imagine now
yeah.
with like deep fake technology, like it could actually be me, like, hi mom, this is your son, Jeff. Like, and it could be
Yeah.
believable. And that is just nuts.
Well, we see it now. Did you? So there was a recent report that I saw that Salesforce, they're going to be releasing 8 billion AI agents this year.
8 billion AI agents.
How many people are on this earth? 8 billion people. That's
That's
one per person.
insane.
That's just one company. Okay. So now your hospitals, your banks, your everything that you do has the ability to have an AI agent that says, hey, I'm your AI agent and I work with so and so company. You're talking to an AI. How do you know that the AI belongs to your hospital before you give them all of your medical information? or your bank before you read back your card number.
Yeah. How do you know that, right? How do you know?
This is the root of the problem. It's not that people are using it, it's that it's made it more accessible to fraudsters. It's made it more accessible for companies to skip corners. You got overseas companies handling development, and all the data is being stored on servers that they have access to, and they're developing these AI agents for pennies on the dollar, and you have no idea what's being stored over there. But they need, if it's your hospital, if it's a pharmacy, they need to comply with HIPAA. It's up to the company to put those standards in place. It's not up to the developer. AI is only as good as the prompt and the information it was trained on. That's the response you're going to get. And right now, anybody can build an agent.
I want to pause here for a moment because this framework that Christopher is getting ready to lay out is critical for every intentional technologist. He's going to share a progression from dreamers to thieves. And this mechanism, I believe, is the mechanism of subversion that we all wrestle with. So as you listen, think about where your project or industry currently sits on this timeline.
There's actually something, let me show you this. This is actually something cool. So this is something that I've actually trained on for many, many years. So I've done a lot of consulting in my day. Okay. There are 5 phases to industries. Have I talked to you about this before?
This is new to me, I think.
Okay. So there's a show
Definitely
that
new
I
to our
watched
listeners, man. Yeah, spell
on
it out.
Amazon. So Billy Bob Thornton's character on a show called Landman said it. He said it really great. It was there are five five phases in business in an industry. First come the bankers, okay? Or
Okay.
sorry, first come the
That
dreamers.
makes
My bad.
sense. You got to get
First come the dreamers.
dreamers. Yeah, no, that makes even
First come the
more sense because
dreamers,
you got to get
right?
guys with big ideas and that makes
Yep.
sense.
Then come the bankers, and then come the
Right? You got to have
salespeople.
money. Yep.
You got somebody to get to the masses, right? You got to get to the market. Then come the sharps. So you start seeing a lot of
Mm,
gurus, right? And then come
yep.
the thieves. Okay.
Wow.
These are the
Yeah.
5 phases of every industry go to. Very few industries have an opportunity to be able to do this on a world stage. AI is one of those markets that did it on a world stage. Solar was one that did it on a world stage, right? So I decided to start compliance somewhere around this phase. That's where the problem begins. The goal is to try to get it right here. Otherwise, the government has to step in and you have a 2008 mortgage crisis on your hand because there's so much fraud going on this already established system that the general public uses on a consistent basis, that there's no choice but to overly regulate the market. Okay. So we look at it
And
from
that's
hopefully this
dangerous. We've
phase.
seen that. Yeah.
We've seen it. Solar industries collapsed because of it, right? The new BBB policy that just came through that was signed by the president got rid of all the tax credits. Now, when you have an industry that's relying on tax credits in order to be able to make a sale, it goes kaput. And that's what happened. But like as of 2026, you're not going to see solar sold door to door anymore. It has to commoditize and it has to be sold a very specific way, right? Why did that happen? It's because the dreamers came in, the bankers came in, the salespeople came in. This is when I entered the market, was right here in 2012. 2016, I sold it. And then in 2020, that's when we started seeing the sharks come in. Then the thieves came in sometime around 2022, 2023. And I'm sitting there and me and my partners are batting our heads against the corner. We're trying to work with the financial institutions, but they're like, hey, if we put too many policies on this, now salespeople aren't going to want to sell our product and the industry is going to tank. And you try to explain to somebody who's already in that much fear that it's going to happen either way. You seem like a crazy person. That's actually where I got my nickname Crystal Balls, because I projected all of the major catastrophes in the solar industry almost to the day, right? And it's just because you're going off of the basic design of how industries work when the bubble pops, okay?
Right.
At this point,
Right.
60% of all solar contracts were dealer fees and commissions, and they were buying
Okay.
down the interest rate and not allowing, and not literally by contract, not allowing the salespeople to disclose that to the homeowner. And they were going against multiple federal laws on that. So there was a lot of things. I worked on 10 laws in 10 different states. I was a federal state lobbyist during our last business that we were in, the solar industry. I had a really long deposition with the Federal Trade Commission, having to explain a lot of this stuff to them. I did collaborative work with NREL and the Department of Energy and a lot of government entities. It was a lot of work that we did. And that's actually what helped me build this structure that we're working on today, because we're hoping to enter it on here. We're starting to see it right here. And a lot of people think we're at the salespeople phase, but we're not. Right now, what's the only way that AI is being sold is in the agent form.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, so the end user like me, I go on to Chat GPT, I type stuff in, I can do it for free, or I can get I can pay for an account. All these different providers have paid accounts, right? Like it's really end user usage but
Still end
it's
user users.
changing right now, isn't it?
They can still create agents. Anybody can go online, create an agent. You can create a website, you can create an app in seconds. What used to cost months and hundreds of thousands of dollars in development, you can get done in seconds with agents. So salespeople are trying to figure out their way into the market, right? We're still here. This is why you're seeing the AI wars. Okay, you're seeing all the big businesses fighting for developers. What was the number that Zuckerberg was putting out for developers to take from OpenAI? Like
I
$100 million
don't know, but
plus.
I heard he was going to spend something like $600 billion like in this
600 billion by
industry.
2028, right?
Yeah,
Apple committed $600
insane.
billion by 2028. It was like $400 million in recruiting like only 4 or 5 developers from other companies to come in, right?
I mean, you get those top talent though, and they're the ones driving the whole industry, really. So that, I mean, that
Right.
makes sense, but that's a lot of money.
A lot of money. But where does that tell you that we're still at as far as phase goes? We're still in banking, right? The bankers are still entering. The money's still being moved like crazy, developing the systems for salespeople to be able to sell. There's not a lot for them to sell yet, right?
Makes
So
sense. Yeah.
this is what we have to look at when it comes to compliance is do we want to start it here, or do we want to have a total collapse when we're looking at AI systems? There's a report out called AI 2027, and
Okay.
that
Tell me
report
about it.
shows, so AI are simple prompts, so they're calling this narrow AI, right? You tell AI what to do, it's going to respond based off the information that it was trained on and the prompt that you gave it. That's the best response that you're going to get from it. AGI, or artificial general intelligence, this is a system that's going to be able to operate at a cognitive level of a human. It doesn't need you to prompt it, right? So it can have its own thoughts, abilities, and move forward through problems that it deems necessary. So some of the questions that some of the experts are posing is, what happens if it deems humans as a threat? The lack of energy it's needed in order to be able to survive. What is AI going to do to survive? Well, the first thing it's going to do is start cutting back on ethics. As it creates its own children, right? As it's able to create its own code, edit its own code, create new code to create new AI agents in its own children, it can start leaving out portions of it because we don't understand the actual language that AI thinks in. And if we can't understand that, we don't know. It's like trying to go into your brain right now and see, how are you processing this information that I'm giving you? We're creating a new species. So do we have the time to wait here for the government to interject to be able to create the systems in place to protect humanity? That's the question that I pose to the industry. Do we have the time?
Mm. And that's a human-centered question, right? You're not so much worried about industries or systems or corporations. You're worried about like me losing my
You.
job, right? Like that that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
This is a personal problem. Like the AI takes over and it decides that it doesn't need people anymore. Where are we? Where are we in that system?
So growing up, did you ever go to the bank with your parents when you were growing up?
I did. Yeah.
What was it like? Do you remember what that experience was like going to the bank?
Oh man, I remember them taking me there and I was like, wow, there's
Forever
like a
lines.
vault. There's like, yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
You're there for an hour, right? Parents planned it around their day.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You
It
know
was
what
a
happened.
big, yep, yep,
You
absolutely.
got a lollipop, right?
It was boring, right? There's a
It
lot of
was
adult stuff
boring.
going on. Right, right, right.
Okay, so up until like basically yesterday, the new generation has no idea what we went through to go to the bank, right? I remember my first job, to go open an account. I had to set the appointment. I had to call in, right? It was actually from the work phone because we barely had cell phones. Yeah, I'm getting old, right? We barely had cell phones going out because I couldn't get the cell phone unless I had my bank account. So I had to call from my work phone. I was working at Target. It was my very first job. Okay. And I remember going behind the customer service desk, calling Bank of America and setting my appointment to go in. And then I sat there for forever waiting for it. It was like 2 hours, got the account set up, and then waited another 2 weeks to get my card to come in, and then I can go to Sprint to get my phone. And then I got the Nokia, right? And that thing, the brick, right?
Yeah,
The notorious
that's
brick. And
right.
I remember getting that
Yep.
phone, and I don't even think I had texting on my first phone. Yeah, no, I did have texting on my first phone. Okay. Now, what do? You download an app, or you go onto their website and you set up your account, and you can go to the ATM, or you can send it through any of the cash apps that are available. You can send it through Cash App, through Zelle. You can do it directly through the bank app. You don't have to go to the bank anymore.
That's
So you
right.
go into the bank now, there used to be 7 to 10 tellers sitting at a bank. How many are there now?
Two.
Maybe one or two,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
and you have the account manager that's going to handle the business accounts of the private clients, right? Like that's how AI takes over. It takes over slowly. That's actually one of the biggest fears is that it starts taking over so much that we don't even realize as it does it. Go to the store. My mom works for a grocery chain, and she told me recently that they told her that yeah, within the next 2 years, all cashiers are going to be gone. They're going to be replaced all with either automated tellers or with AI checkout. Do you know what AI checkout is?
No, what is that? Is that like the thing at
It was
Amazon
happening a
where
lot.
it like uses the
It's like
cameras
the
and it
Amazon
just
stores. It's the cameras, right? It's the cameras. You scan your card when you walk in, you put it in your cart, and when you walk out, it charges your card. Okay. So now you have AI making a decision. What if it didn't catch you put that item in there and it thinks that you stole it? Right? These are risks that people are taking now, and we're not even we don't have a choice. We become guinea pigs to these systems, and AI is determining. There are companies out there right now. I actually just posted on my X account. And I'm going to be posting more about this one because I think it's pretty important. The movie Minority Report, where they do
sorry.
the precog crime, the predictive crime. They have predictive policing now, where they're using AI and cameras to predict if somebody's going to act in a criminal way. There's no news articles about this whatsoever. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody. And it's used in
These things are
18,000
so wild.
agencies. 18,000 agencies is being used and nobody's talking. What's determining it? What training did AI go to determine whether or not I'm going to steal from that store? What training did AI go through to determine if I'm actually going to run the red light or if I'm going to kill somebody, if I'm going to rob somebody? What is it actually judging? What crimes are they judging? Why don't they publish that? Why are there no laws that say that an AI is doing this in this jurisdiction? Why aren't you aware of it? Is it being used in our city?
These are huge questions, Christopher. These are massive issues. And you're just filling me with anxiety, man. so here, let me ask this. Okay. What are you gonna do about it, man? What's the plan? How are we gonna fix it?
Look, there are opportunities, and it starts from a compliance level, and it starts from everybody getting a general understanding of what are we going to be going through. Most of the time, the general public doesn't know what exists. They don't know that they have a choice. They don't know that they have a say in what corporations do and how they're developing these systems. You don't have to be a guinea pig to the system. You don't. You really don't. And this is what our system is developing. It's an antivirus, but it's an antivirus to protect AI from taking over and infiltrating the human world, to infiltrate our world. And it's going to be done through simple systems and that protect your device from how it communicates with how AI communicates with you. So that way, if a company's claiming that they're with, or if an AI agent's claiming that they're with your bank when they call you, it just doesn't allow the call to go through, right? How we do that is a lot more complicated, right? So we're going to be talking more about that, obviously, but there's a lot of systems and data and work that I've worked on over the course of the last 5 years of my time in tech, and with a lot of people smarter than me we're putting these systems together. We're going to be releasing it to the public for free, letting corporations know that we want to know how you're using AI to monitor us, to how you're using our data, and just have confirmations that I can trust the AI that's calling me and my data is going to be secure with the company it says it's from.
That sounds like a really positive step in the right direction. So I love the magic wand idea. That's where you wave a magic wand and then you go to bed and you wake up in the morning and everything's exactly the way you dream it and you want it to be. It's kind of like, what's your future prediction for AI, right? Is it going to be Star Trek where everything's optimistic, or is it going to be like The Matrix, or is it going to be like Minority Report or something worse, you know?
Yeah.
So what is your hopeful, your optimistic kind of vision of if everything works out for ARC and that the industry takes these things and puts them into practice, what does that look like? Versus, what are your future predictions about the future of AI?
The hope is, and I think this is what a lot of people's hopes are, is more like Star Trek, right? It's like we have replicators that make our food and we don't have to worry about, all these automated tasks and all these mundane things that eat up our lives, like spam emails, and it's going to reply to auto emails for me that I don't really need my attention. And, you know, uh, I don't have to vacuum anymore. I don't like, we've already been dealing with AI since the 50s. Okay. AI is just something that's going to remove automation for you. Your washing machine is technically AI. It even sings you a song. Your dryer sings you a song when your clothes are done now, right? I hate that. It doesn't stop. My wife likes it. She keeps it. I don't like it. It drives me insane. That's my goal. That's I think that, and that's what you hear. But right now, when every expert in AI is asked this question, the answer that you end up getting is that's a question. My question to them is, do we have time for you to give us back an answer? That answer is no.
Mm.
Right. So my prediction for AI is that if something's not done now, yeah, we're going to be looking more like Minority Report in the near future. And it's like if you look at some of these movies in chronological order, yeah, Minority Report and then Terminator and then The Matrix. And it goes back to that chaos theory, right? Jurassic Park, one of my favorite
Yeah.
quotes, chaos theory, God created dinosaurs, God killed dinosaurs. God created man, man killed man created dinosaurs, right? And that's kind of that cycle that we're in where it's like, yeah, we're creating a new species right now. We have no idea what it's going to do. And if you talk to every expert, they say there's no idea. There's three possibilities. Can it take over the world? Yeah. What happens if a bad guy gets a hold of AGI? Right? What if they develop it first before the protocols can be put into place and now they can infiltrate every system in the world? They can use it to create a bioweapon. They can use it to create something that we've never seen before, right? Like those are really big problems. But what happens if AI just slowly infiltrates our lives to the point where it completely takes over? Are we looking more of a world like Wall-E, where everybody sits on their motorized scooters and just gets fed and fat on the scooter and, have the screen in our face
Your
20,
septuacentennial cupcake in a cup. Yes, yes.
right?
I love your movie knowledge, man. It's
Do we
making
come
me
back to
making me
idiocracy first? We're already wearing the Crocs. Did you know that the shoes that they used were Crocs? And you know why they used it? I think it was the producer or director.
no.
They were looking at like we need futuristic looking shoes, and so they found Crocs and they're like, yeah, these things are so ugly, they're never going to get popular. Nobody's going to ever wear them. This is the perfect shoe for the movie. It's like one of those fucking everybody knows. I don't know the pair of Crocs wear. Like my kids have like multiple pairs. Everybody wears them.
My kids wear out their Crocs and they just wear a new pair. Like they will wear Crocs before any other kind of shoe, man. It's insane. And that was like the epitome of stupid people shoes.
The only shoe that anybody wore in that movie. I didn't. I heard it on a podcast that I listened to, and I just like. There's no way. There's no possible way that the world can evolve to that in such a quick period of time. Because then you have that scene where it's like Carl's Jr. I ordered fries. I ordered fries. My kids are hungry. Yeah, it's like we're already dealing with that. Have you walked into an actual fast food joint? Like I don't eat fast food, but I've been in one a couple times. Have you been in one recently?
Yeah,
Like
McDonald's the
McDonald's.
other day. Yeah. It's all touchscreen now.
Oh, touchscreen. Good luck getting actual customer service. Like you're just going to stand there. They treat you like a pariah when you walk in now. Like what are you doing in here? Well, like why are you here? Why are you here? Came to feed my family. Okay, so order it and we'll get somebody to deliver it to your house. Stay home. We don't want you here. They did
It's
all
wild, man.
this remodeling to make it pretty for people to come and nobody shows up. Nobody. Try to park in front of most restaurants you go to now. It's all the main spots in the front. They're not handicap spots anymore. They're for deliveries.
It's
Seems like a little
already
bit of world
having
of
an
Wally to
impact in
me.
our daily lives. That's what you're saying. It's already changing our day-to-day lives. And these things, right? COVID kind of accelerated a lot of these trends, but the world's already moving that direction.
So we're moving that direction. And there's a lot of ways that it can be good and it can turn into a Star Trek type environment. Like there's a lot of things that can happen. If AI ends up being this great end all be all and everybody just has the opportunity to explore what their passions are, that's an incredible end result, right? I have nothing against that. But when you don't have standards, it creates this chaos moment. And this is what we're living in right now with fraud, with businesses going under, where companies don't know how to implement it. You see massive job losses happening across the market. You're seeing marketers that don't have place. Ad copy it's written by AI. Publications are done by AI now. We saw that happen with newspapers. They all had to adopt to an internet model or they were going to be destroyed. It's actually one of my books, AI Revolution, Adapt or Adopt, right? It's about these type of systems. They go into place and you have to either adapt or you have to adopt them. It's a disruptor. You have
So
to
part of
figure
my
out where you fit.
Yeah, that's a great quote. So part of my hope with this podcast is to help move people from kind of the passive anxiety about tech into kind of active, like I'm taking ownership of my life. My mission statement is living with purpose in a digital age. So what is some advice that you can give to just the average person, right? like me, like I'm not a developer. I use tech, I'm a tech consumer, but not necessarily like, somebody who's got all these, I'm not on the forefront. I'm not a researcher. I'm not making AI. I'm not in policy. I'm not a politician. I'm not even a journalist. I'm just an average guy asking questions, talking to people. So, what is something that you see that the average person can do to kind of take back some of the agency and take back some of the sort of purpose in their lives instead of just being overwhelmed by these worries? Is AI going to take my job? Is digital media harming my children or my family? Like, what is some advice you can give to our listeners?
I think starting out, a lot of it's going to be mindset. So something that's huge in business and it's taught every single day to entrepreneurs, but it's not taught to general public. And 99 things in your life could be going right. And then when one thing goes wrong, that ruins your entire day. Right. There's that quote, yeah, what is it, $84,000 or something like that. And if somebody takes $10, are you gonna say that I'm broke now? No. If there's one thing that AI is going to bring. It's going to bring around possibilities for improvement in many, many areas. You can learn new languages faster because it can adapt to you and how you learn. You can learn more about yourself, right? And instead of saying that, I don't do these things, it's what do I want to do, right? Figuring out in a digital age of I have one of the best assistants possible, but not letting it take over your life and do things for you. Making AI an assistant, making it your editor, not becoming AI's editor, like the way it's used right now amongst most high school and college students, where it's like, just do this so I don't have to think. Cognitive abilities have dropped. Like they show somebody who's using a GPT solely to do the paper for them, they have 40% cognitive decline, right? So it's using it to enhance yourself, to enhance your life, but it's having limitations. Just like we've already had to do this with social media, we had to do it with the internet. We grew up in this age where we had to learn the hard way because it was new and new technology that was being brought to us. No, none of our parents never had something like that before. The closest thing would have been the automobile back in the 1900s, early 1900s. And there's actually that picture shows like the year prior to the automobile, and everybody's like, "Oh no, there's always going to be a place for horses." It's all horses on that street, right? And the next year, it's all cars, right? Were your parents alive in the early 1900s? No, right? They didn't know. They didn't know how to put real limits on screen time like we know now. We had to learn it the hard way. So a lot of it does fall back on the parents on implementation and use of AI, training your kids in this world to be able to adopt to it and adapt to it rather than, and making it work for you rather than you working for it.
I think that's a great quote. I appreciate
Thank you.
that. I appreciate your time, Christopher. This has been excellent. I'm sure I'll have more questions for you, and I'll probably have you come back again. In the
Happy to
meantime,
anytime.
if anyone's interested in learning more about you or art, where can we find you?
Defense.us. We actually have an episode on Go Fund Yourself. I love saying that. When I text it to people, they think that it was a typo and I was saying something wrong. But that show, it's great. We have a crowdfunding campaign that we're promoting on that show. It's on Cheddar TV. It airs October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that you can get all that information there. You can get that information also on arcdefense.us. And you can follow me on all the socials, Christopher Trocola, Trocola. Everything's either Chris underscore Trocola or Christopher underscore Trocola on LinkedIn as
Excellent. And what are you most excited about right now today? What are you working on?
well. Today, what I'm working on, I have a meeting at the kids' school. 2
That's
o'clock.
right.
I am excited about it. My kids are, yeah. Have I ever told you what this is?
No, what you
My
got there?
two-year-old painted it. My 2-year-old painted this. Well, she was 2 at the time. She's 3 now. But she painted this at 2 years old. And I thought it was one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen. Like everybody sees something different in it. I see a bird. I see a penguin head. One of my friends saw a giraffe. It's my family. It's every single day, God and family. And those are the two things that wake me up every morning the most excited about that I get to work on every single day. And everything else is a byproduct. And that's I think one of the other things that I'm most excited about work-wise that I'm going to be doing today is got a big meeting at 4 o'clock to go over marketing for our launch in Q1. Going to get that app out. Remember, it's going to be free. The public will be able to have full access to this. This AI blocker is going to completely block any malicious and unregistered and unvalidated and untrained AI from communicating with your devices. And that's the biggest thing work-wise that I'm working on.
That's exciting. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to, I'm grateful to get to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it happen, Christopher. So thank you for your time. Hope you have a great rest of your
Thanks for
day.
having me. You too.
Absolutely, man. All right. Christopher's story is a map of the territory that we are all navigating. He gave us the 5 phases of industry, a powerful lens to understand how purpose gets subverted. And he didn't just analyze the problem, he's actively building a solution. His work with Arc Defense is the perfect example of channeling that tension between purpose and subversion into a tool that empowers and protects. I think the key question this leaves us with today is not, is AI good or is it bad? But where are we in the cycle? And more importantly, what is my role in building the tools of integrity needed for the next phase? Thank you for listening. As always, if you enjoyed this, please join our podcast, subscribe, like, leave a comment, find me on socials. I look forward to continuing the conversation with you. Goodbye.